Hello and welcome back to the Hairy Housewife YouTube channel, you beautiful lot. And today, watch one single product break my spirit. Hello and welcome back to the Hairy Housewife YouTube channel, you beautiful lot. That's right, this week watch one single product destroy my spirit. Now if you're here to see my usual fancy sliding shots, my fancy shots, my nice angles, unfortunately this week you ain't gonna get it. If it's your first time on the channel, go check out previous videos. Don't judge it on this video. Now, on top of no sleep, on top of the Easter holidays being around and the kids being at home, on top of car issues, on top of being late, this product added to it all and it really destroyed my spirit on the day. And I got halfway through that sort of the first part and I was like, I can't be able to keep moving the camera. I just want to get this over and done with now. I've had enough. And that was literally one product that made me feel like that. Now, before we jump into those products, I was working on a vehicle that is my parents'. The vehicle isn't that dirty. It doesn't cover a lot of miles whatsoever. And it wasn't washed that long before Christmas. Since then, it's probably done 200-300 miles. And as you can see, it is covered in a layer of loose grime and dirt. They live on country roads, and it's just where they've been through muddy puddles, and it has splashed it all up the vehicle. There is no heavy dirt or contamination on this vehicle. It doesn't get driven enough to build that up. Now, the first thing I would usually do is rinse the car over with the pressure washer to get rid of any loose dirt and contamination and big clumps of mud. However, being in the funny mood I was in already, being tired, being late, I completely forgot. And usually I would hit the car first with a citrus pre-wash. Now, this vehicle wasn't too bad. Again, it was only sort of light to medium dirt. So I thought, you know what? I'll go straight over with the snow foam. And the first product that I am using is the G3 Pro Snow Foam. Again, the vehicle wasn't that dirty, so I'm using it as medium dirt dilution, and that is 8 parts water to 1 part product. So I'm popping 100ml into the MJJC S3 Lance, and I'm topping it up with 800ml of water, as per the instructions on the back of the bottle for the medium dirt dilution. Now, before I spray it onto the car, I just wanted to have a little bit of a chat about the product. Now, Farecla sent me out this free of charge with a few other products to try and review. Now, I've been looking around the internet for it, and on an average price, I'm finding it for around about £13. Now, if you were to use this at their recommended dilution ratios of 1:4, 1:8, or 1:15, at £13 for this bottle, that means every 100ml of product you use will cost you £2.60. Now, at 1:4, you're going to need 100ml of product to 400ml of water, otherwise you won't get round the whole vehicle. At 1:8, you could use 50ml of product to 400ml of water. That should be enough to get you around any medium-sized vehicle. And again, the same with 1:15. That means those two dilution ratios at 1:8 and 1:15 should cost you around about £1.30. Now, that is quite high up on the cost price for snow foam per wash compared to some of the others on the market. So let's find out how this snow foam performed at 1:8 on this mildly dirty vehicle. Now, the first thing you'll notice as I start to spray it onto the vehicle, even through the MJJC SV3 Lance, it is very, very thin. Although thin snow foam doesn't always mean bad, the same as thick doesn't always mean good. Now, as I go around the whole vehicle coating it, I could see it was very quickly drying up in the places that I'd already been, which is not good for a snow foam. You want it to dwell as long as possible to help loosen that dirt and grime that is on the vehicle. Now, by the time I had taken these fancy up-close shots of the snow foam dwelling, it had already started to dry out on the other side of the vehicle, and I needed to get this snow foam off as quick as possible before it left any white marks and residue behind. Now, this was only after about 1.5 to 2 minutes of dwell time. I had to start rinsing it off. Now, first thing you'll notice already is it is pulling the dirt off the front door of this vehicle. Now, I was quite surprised by this and I was quite excited by this. However, it then quickly dawned on me that I hadn't pre-rinsed the vehicle off before applying the snow foam, and that's when I started to think, maybe most of this dirt might have come off before I put the snow foam on. Now again, as I come around to the other side, you can see that dirt is coming off the vehicle, but again, it is questionable how much dirt would have come off if I had pre-rinsed the vehicle before popping the snow foam on. And I started to think, how can I try this? My vehicle was sat there, I still had a little bit left in the snow foam bottle, so I rinsed the boot of my vehicle off, which only had medium dirt on it as well, as it had been washed about 2 or 3 weeks before. You can see, as I start to rinse it off, a layer of dirt has come off. You can see the boot itself isn't that dirty, but there is a layer of dirt on there. So I sprayed 1/2 of the boot with the 800 to 100 ml product dilution, and I left the other side completely bare. Now it's probably only a minute or a minute and a half before I had to rinse it off the vehicle because it had started to sort of go thin and dry out. Now I'm making sure to rinse the back of the vehicle the same distance all the way along, because you'll always get someone in the comments going, you were closer one side than you were the other. Now once I'd rinsed both sides of my boot off, I couldn't see any visible difference whatsoever from the left hand side to the right hand side, so I thought, you know what, I'll grab a clean microfiber out the back of the car and I'll give it a rub over. Now starting with the side that had no snow foam on it, I am making sure to rub this microfiber over the whole section to make sure I get up any dirt that was left over from the rinsing. Now again, exactly the same on the other side, going over the whole side of the boot with that clean microfiber. Now I didn't hold the microfiber very level in my hand when I did this, but you can see here that the dirt on the microfiber is pretty much the same on both sides. Now that right there is where this product crushed my spirits. Now I have used Farecla's G3 Super Gloss Paste Wax before, and I absolutely love this. This was an absolutely banging wax to use, and I was expecting this to work better than it did. Well, it was a little bit thin. Again, it didn't worry me because some of the best snow foams out there are a lot thinner than those big, fancy, thick show snow foams. However, once I'd seen the results I had there on that day, I was just like, could it get any worse? I hadn't bought any other products with me, no other snow foam with me to go over the vehicle with, and I was just like, and it really crushed my spirits. Again, it was a mix of a few different things. Usually it wouldn't get to me. I would just crack on anyway. But after seeing those results, I was like, I should have bought something else with me. It's just... But I decided to carry on with the test. Now the next product I had with me was the Farecla wheel cleaner. Now again, reading the instructions on the back of the bottle. Rinse prior to use. Surface must be cool to touch. Leave the product to dwell. Any stubborn dirt, agitate with a brush. It is a spray-on wheel cleaner that contains iron fallout remover. Now I'm spraying it liberally all over this wheel. Now these wheels shouldn't be too bad. It wasn't that long ago that I hit them with an iron fallout remover, and again, this vehicle hasn't done many miles since. Now after around about 2 minutes, there isn't that much purpling coming from these wheels. Now that's probably because there isn't that much iron contamination on these wheels. Again, I'd only done these a few months prior. Now going around with my detailing brush just to help loosen up that dirt and grime that are on the wheels, it does feel very nice, it does feel very lubricated, and there isn't no nasty smell coming from this. It does have quite a pleasant sort of fruity smell. You can smell the fallout remover behind it, but it isn't as bad as some of the others. Now while I let that dwell further, I'm going to go around with my good stuff tyre and rubber cleaner, dilute it down at 1 to 8, just spraying the tyres over, and then I'm going to go around with my tyre scrubber brush from Dodo Juice. And you can see it has done a fantastic job at lifting and bringing that dirt to the surface, ready to be rinsed off. And as I start to rinse the wheel off, you can see that the wheel cleaner has done an okay job. Now the wheel cleaner itself, I have been looking around the internet for, and I have found it for an average price of around about £14. Now spoiler alert, I probably used just over a quarter of a bottle on these 4 wheels. That's around about £3.50 per wash. Now to me, I wouldn't say I got any better results out of it than I did the Halfords £5 bottle of wheel cleaner. other than it did contain a bit of fallout remover. But on wheels like this that have been previously sort of done with fallout remover, kind of a waste of time using a product like this. You could have just gone down, got your Halfords bottle for a £5 and gone round the vehicle with that. So yes, the product did work well being agitated, and yes, the product was nice to use. It didn't stink. It didn't have that much of a nasty fallout remover smell to it. Yes, you could smell it, but it wasn't awful. However, on the bottle, it does say this product can be used for a contactless wheel clean. Now, I've agitated it there to get rid of any dirt and grime and help lift it all off. I also went onto the other back wheel of the vehicle and just sprayed it liberally onto that wheel. Now this wheel did contain a little bit more iron contamination than the other one, and after about 2 minutes it was time to rinse it off. Again, I haven't agitated this wheel with any kind of brush whatsoever. This is just down to the cleaning power of this wheel cleaner. Now after I'd rinsed it off, I could still see a layer of dirt and grime on the wheels that was left over by the wheel cleaner that I hadn't removed. Now if I hadn't have gone back over with a brush and the wheel cleaner again and agitated it and got that sort of dirt off, they'd have dried, they'd have gone milky, and it'd have looked horrible, and I've had to have gone back over again with the wheel cleaner just to get them to come back to that nice shiny finish that is on them. Now these wheels are very glossy, and you do notice if they go milky with dirt and you haven't cleaned them properly. Now the wheel cleaner itself wasn't too bad. I think personally for what it is for me, it was a little bit overpriced when there is better on the market for a very similar price range. Or, you know, you could buy two separate products. You could use the Halfords wheel cleaner and you could have a fallout remover just to go over if you did need to use it. However, again, it wasn't terrible, but for the price, I probably wouldn't buy it again. Now, they hadn't sent me a shampoo out and I was feeling a little bit disheartened, and I was like, but I wanted to try something else new that day, and I did have on me Garage Therapy's Decon shampoo. Now, I'd never used this before, but I'd heard about how good at cleaning it is. I'd heard about how lubricated it is. I heard about how well it worked. This had been sent to me by Nick at Gilly Wash on Instagram. Go check him out and give him a follow if you're not already. Now, the first thing I've done with this, like I do with any shampoo, is I popped 50ml of product into the lance. I'm going to top it up with 400ml of water, just to spray a layer over the vehicle to help with the lubrication when cleaning a vehicle, especially when it still has a layer of dirt left on it like this one did. Now this shampoo already was coming out thicker than the snow foam, and it smells really, really pleasant. It smells really fresh, and it smells really, really nice. Now already this shampoo was starting to perk me up and make me feel a little bit happier. And it also gave me time to go around the vehicle with my detailing brush to get in those nooks and crannies around the glass and around the number plates where it started to go green from where the water had sat and gone sort of mouldy and the algae had set in. Now 50ml into my detailing bucket. Again, once I started to mix it up with the lance, frothed up and foamed up very, very nicely. Now as I started to go around the vehicle, it felt smooth, it felt slick, and it felt such a pleasure to use. And it also smelled absolutely fantastic. This is such a really, really nice shampoo to use. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about the Garage Therapy Zero Decon shampoo too much, because this review was about the G3 range. However, that shampoo is cracking. If you haven't used it, I definitely recommend giving it a go. Now, once I'd cleaned the car over with the shampoo, it was time to dry the vehicle. Now, I went around with my drying towel, making sure to get up as much water as possible from this vehicle. Again, this vehicle's protection was dead. So after I'd gone around and got up as much water as possible, I left the vehicle around about half an hour to let any moisture that was on the vehicle left over from sort of going around with the drying towel to dry up. Now, although it was a sunny day, it wasn't that warm, the panels were cold, but it was windy, which worked in my favour. It was kind of like blow drying the car for me. And after around about, like I said, half an hour, it was time to go back and use the final G3 product of the day. And that was the G3 Professional Spray Wax. Now, once I'd gone over and give it an initial buff with my microfiber cloth, I then moved on to my plush microfiber and give it a final buff over. Now again, repeating the process on the other side of the bonnet, spraying it on, buffing it over, and then giving it a final buff with the plush microfiber towel. Now, if you haven't seen those towels before, they are the Wolfpack towels from the Rag Company. They are quite possibly my new favourite plush towel to use. If you haven't seen it all over Instagram, all last week I was using that towel and I fell in love with it massively. It is quite possibly one of my new favourite towels ever. They come in light grey, medium grey and brown. If you want to try them out, go check them out. They are fantastic, fantastic plush towels. They feel really nice and they feel decent quality. Now, I left it about an hour before I went on and did the rest of the vehicle just to let that sort of bonnet cure. And then I thought, you know what? Everybody wants to see how does the protection on a vehicle react to water? What is the water behaviour like? So I thought, you know what? Turned the pressure washer off and I sprayed it over with sort of the water coming out of the pressure washer quite gently, no power behind it, and this was the results. Now, initially I did notice it start beading up and the water running off. Although it wasn't the quickest water behaviour, it was running off and it was starting to leave the panels. Now, once I do flood that panel with water, you can see that the water behaviour slows down dramatically. It takes a lot longer for that water to start leaving the panel. Now, once I start spraying it over again with a fine mist, it does start to leave the panel again a lot quicker. And in the places the water had left the panel, it did feel absolutely bone dry. However, I wasn't blown away by it. Now, this might just be down to me. It wasn't sort of for me. This is just my personal preference. I didn't like it. It didn't spread out very well. And this is my parents' car. I wanted to leave them with a good layer of protection that they could see. And like I said, the water behaviour on this wasn't great. Lucky for me, I had the BCP Car Care SiO2 Quick Detailer in the boot of my car from the previous review. If you haven't seen it, go check it out, the BCP Car Care review. Again, the production quality on that one is definitely a lot better than this one. But I went around the whole car with that SiO2 Quick Detail and I was done. As you can see, the car is looking nice and clean. However, I'd come away from this clean feeling very, very disheartened. Again, the G3 Super Gloss Paste Wax, I've used this loads and I really am a fan of this. It works really, really well. So I had high hopes for these products. I've used their compounds, I've used their polishes before, and they all worked really, really well. So again, I went into this review thinking that these are going to be good products. You know, Farecla know what they're doing. The G3 range is fantastic. And I was very, very disappointed. That snow foam, I mean, for the price of it, there's so much better out there. For the way it lifted the dirt, there is so much better out there. The wheel cleaner, although it did work, it wasn't mind-blowing. And there are other products out there that I would probably reach for first. This is going to be sat on that shelf and I may grab it if I'm ever desperate. Or if anybody out there wants it, let me know. I'll send it to you and you can give it a go. The spray wax, again, wasn't for me. It felt a little bit grabby for my liking. And the water behaviour afterwards didn't really fill me with much hope that there was any protection really left over. So what more can I say about these products? Now, this again is only my personal opinion. If you've used these at home and you've had better results than I have, pop it in the comments below. I'd be interested to find out. Maybe they were just bad bottles. Maybe I didn't use them right, but I followed the instructions on the back of the bottle like anybody that would buy these from their local Halfords or local shop would. I followed it to the way they have said to use them. So if you have any better ideas on how to use them, you've used them in a different way and they've worked better for you, please, again, pop it in the comments below. I'd be very interested to find out how it has worked for you guys at home. But for me, I'm not a fan. For me, they didn't work. Unfortunately, again, like I said, I've used some of the other products and I was just very disappointed in these ones. I've got a few more to try. I've got an all-in-one polish. I have the quick detailer and I have the clay mitt. I'll be doing an all-in-one polish shootout very, very soon. But guys, that's it from me this week. I've been a Hairy Housewife. You guys have been great. And I'll see you all again very soon.